Hey guys, welcome back to another Redstone video. The last 2 days I had a lot of fun playing around with the new snapshot features. I made a really compact record sorter. I used a different approach than usual this time, and I think it turned out really well. I want to share this with you guys. Okay, so let's check it out. So yeah, it's really compact. It's actually just 3 blocks wide, and there's not a lot of redstone involved, but it works great. Let's actually see it working first. So all of those barrels here are empty, and I got a chest. You have all the different records in the game. So there's in total 15 different ones at this point. I'm just gonna place down a double chest here, and it will feed the records at hopper speed into the jukebox. So the whole sorting is at hopper speed. So technically you can sort 9,000 records per hour. Okay, so let's try it out. So it starts automatically, and yeah, everything happens really quick. So we just put in the record into the jukebox for just 2 ticks, and then we take it out with the hopper minecart below, and then we send it through a dropper line here to the correct barrel in this case, and they all get sorted in. So the whole double chest already got sorted. We can check out the barrels. So here we got the 13 music disc, cat, second one. So it's ordered by signal strength output you get from the music discs. And as you can see, they all got sorted correctly into the barrels there. So let's take a look at how this works. If you put the record into the jukebox will basically become a redstone block. So any blocks around will be powered. So if you have a normal setup like this, you can't just use a hopper below to take out the record because, well, the hopper is getting directly powered by the jukebox. So that's why we have this hopper minecart setup here. And yeah, the hopper minecart is sitting on a sloped rail. If I would put just like a activator rail with minecart directly below, then of course this would also get powered and the hopper minecart wouldn't be able to pick up the items. So that's why we just moved the rail 1 block lower and sloped it like this. Just need a block here. So the minecart, if you check the hitbox, is still like less than a block away from the jukebox and therefore can pick up items. But of course, the minecart shouldn't pick up the item out of the jukebox immediately because we need at least 2 game ticks so the comparator can read out the correct signal strength here. So that's why we have a little bit of delay. So as soon as the jukebox turns on here, it also gives out a redstone signal, so we can check that out. Just gonna move the minecart here real quick and put a record in. So you can see this gives out a signal on the side here as well. So we use that in order to turn off the comparator here with 2 ticks of delay, which turns off the activator rails here. So I'm actually using this comparator setup to invert the redstone signal, because if I would use a torch here on the side, it would burn out. So this changes state every 8 ticks, and redstone torch changing state faster than every 10 ticks would burn out. So I couldn't use that. I have to use this comparator setup. Also really try to have everything 3 wide, so that's why it's gotten a little bit large. You have the comparator to fit it in there. Okay, so what we're doing so far is to put in the music discs into the jukebox, keep it in there for 2 game ticks, so there's enough time to read out the signal of the comparator, and then we use the hopper minecart to take it out almost immediately again. So then the hopper will just pick out the item out of the hopper minecart and put it into this dropper here. Okay, you now take the signal strength in order to put the music disc into the correct barrel or double chest here at the bottom. Of course, you could also hook this up to a shulker box filler, whatever you want at the bottom. How do we get it into the right barrel now? Well, we do have that signal strength. For example, if you put pick step in there, we get a signal strength of 15 from the comparator, and we use that to put it into the correct barrel. So how does it work? So at every step, we reduce the signal strength by 1 here. So at some point, the comparator in front will no longer be powered. So in the comparator here, changing state is detected by the observer that through this chain here powers the dropper. So the music disc is sent along the line here until the signal strength runs out. So here in the composter we have just yeah, a single slice, so the signal strength per step is reduced by 1. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna put in a music disk. We can see I'm gonna put in pick step, which has a signal strength of 13. As we can see, oh, put it in there. Okay, it just stops at this point. So this is still getting triggered. So the dropper here is still getting triggered. So yeah, basically it ends up here. Of course, what we also have to do is lock the hopper below. So that's why coming from the comparator, yeah, there's a second redstone output line. Just goes a little bit lower to those repeaters here that lock the hoppers below, so they won't suck out the item out of the dropper above. Just a technicality here, actually have to use repeaters because of the update order. Repeaters lock the hoppers before the dropper can send the item over. Okay, yeah, I would put in, for example, the Melohi disk, then signal stops way earlier and it's getting put into this barrel here. So actually simple stuff. Just a little technicality, you might have noticed this comparator here at the end that seemingly does nothing. That's just needed in order to get around this behavior here. You might notice from the repeaters that if you have a really quick signal, then here the last repeater in the line stays on. And if I put another repeater in front, then they would also turn on. So if I wouldn't put the repeater there, then actually the signal gets lost and this comparator would never turn on. So that's why we need the additional comparator. Okay, now that we know how this works, might be fun to take a look at it working again. So you can follow the different signal strength, how far they reach. Some of the music disks, here the signal stops early and sometimes it goes all the way to the end. Okay, also doesn't really matter that the line here isn't instant because it's still processed in the correct way. Okay, so that's the compact record sorter. I think from this explanation, you should already be able to recreate it. Okay, maybe let's also quickly talk about why I didn't use an array for this. Of course, this is also an option, so arrays can also sort all the music disks. But I think this system has the advantage that you don't need to get an entity, so it should be a bit more lag friendly, and it's also quicker. So the arrays have their, I think, 60 tick cooldown, while this system works at 8 game ticks. Would technically also be possible to make an even faster system, but I think in case you want, for example, a 4 game tick record sorter, it's probably best to actually just have it on 2 sides. So I don't think sending the records through the music disk at 4 game ticks is really helpful. I think just a second one would do the job better, or it gets less complicated and it's probably also a lot simpler. Okay, then one more thing I want to show you. You can also now sort records or music disks in general, similar how you could sort out potions from other non-stackable items. You can do that as well now. Here I got a box, different non-stackable items. And similarly, you can just put it here on top. And here I actually ran into a bug. So if you put a record into the jukebox and immediately take it out with the hopper minecart, then it doesn't stop playing. It's quite interesting. Let's try this out. So this way you can play, basically make a noise machine. So this still keeps playing. I could also now remove the jukebox. I think it's just a bug that might be fixed later. But yeah, here you can see, you now sorted those items from all the music disks. I also made another version of this record sorter because the way it is right now, it could technically also break if the barrel, in this case, or the hopper on top, would overflow and then the records wouldn't be sorted correctly anymore. In this case, we need an overflow protection, and I did that here. So in case the barrel, you can also have a double chest, whatever is filled. Then, yeah, we can take an output here of the comparator. So in case it's completely filled, we get signal strength 15 here. And only then we send the signal through this block here. So here we got the item frame on this side. Is a really neat trick that I picked up a couple months ago. So right now we got a signal strength of 14, so it's not completely filled. Check it here, power 14. Now we fill it entirely, and then the comparator here picks up the signal. So it basically means one of the barrels is filled up. Please stop putting in any more records. Just follow this redstone line here, which locks the hopper. So this would be one way to make an overflow protection for this in case you want it. Let's also talk about uses of such a record sorter. I actually got a little bit of history with record sorters. So many years ago, when I just started my YouTube channel, probably had a couple of hundred subscribers. I was, to my knowledge, actually the first person to ever upload a concept for a record sorter. So it looked a bit different than this one here. And also back then still required a player to put in the records and then also take them out. Basically just had a dropper that fed records to the player, and you just spam right click on the sorter here. And yeah, back then I actually titled the video "Useless Contraptions Record Sorter." So back then nobody could even imagine that this would be useful for anything ever. And yeah, even right now, until the last update, I mean, the only use for this would have been to sort all the records you get from your creeper farm, which aren't that useful anyway. So why would you need 100 the same records? So yeah, hardly there was ever use to doing that. But now the system can actually be used as part of all kinds of music systems. So now we can play our favorite music with the jukeboxes from the records. And then of course you also want the records to be sorted in correctly again. So I can just use the system now as part of a bigger contraption. Alright, so that's all for today. Hope this video might be useful for some of you. In case something was unclear or not really shown in the video, there's also a Word download you can check out. Alright, thanks guys for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.